Hello, welcome everyone. We're just going to give it just a few more minutes and then we'll go ahead and get started. If you're able to join us on webcam, we would love that so we can see some faces. Hello, hello, welcome. Hi, Swati. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if you were asking a question.
Well, hey, Swati. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
How are things?
They're going. They're
Good.
going. A little bit of improvement, one day at a time.
Right.
Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and people will continue to hop on, but we'll go ahead and get going. So welcome to our workshop hosted by Workforce Institute. My name is Maritza Andre. I'm the VP of Admissions here. I'm just going to go into a short and sweet who we are, and then we're going to go ahead and pass it on to our awesome instructor, Nolan, so he can begin this workshop.
Hi.
Okay, so hi, Nolan. So Workforce Institute, we are a pioneer in education and career transformation, specializing in today's most in-demand skills, the leading source for training, staffing, and career transitions. We foster a flourishing community of professionals pursuing careers they love. Here at Workforce Institute, we offer UI/UX design and digital marketing. Workforce Institute has 5 university partnerships, offering students the opportunity to take one of our high-demand UI/UX or digital marketing boot camps and graduate with their university brand. If you were to pursue one of these programs under one of the university brands, this would be our team that would support you along the way. So here's just a little overview of our admissions team, career services, and student services. With that being said, short and sweet, if you're thinking about what would a student experience be like, you'd first meet with an advisor, learn about our programs. You'd pick a start date and enroll. You'd be a part of your new student orientation and get started with classes. Then you graduate and get a certificate. And if you're doing UI/UX design, you get to build out a portfolio that will be completed after the duration of the program, so that when you graduate, you're job ready. You get career services and job placement support for up to 12 months after you graduate the program. That's a little bit about Workforce Institute. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Nolan. And before you speak, Nolan, I just want to let everybody know the call is being recorded. I will be dropping a link so you can put your information in. So once we get done, you get emailed a certificate for completing the workshop, and you get to have the link to the recording. All right, Nolan, all yours.
Cool. Thanks, Maritza. Let me see. Maybe I should just take that. Oh, I'm kind of a dunce today. All right, let me just take over that screen share. Okay. Got a weird monitor situation, so I've got to do like the custom sized screen share. Well, anyway, yeah, thanks for that, Maritza. This is the Workforce Institute Friday workshop presentation. We've got sort of a lecture thing on some of the UX UI design basics, you know, some of the stuff that you learn at the beginning of the course to just kind of draw you into the topics and concepts. And then we have a short activity, and it looks like we have you know, a good amount of attendees today. I'm not sure if anybody else is going to be joining, but during our activity in the second half of this, I'm going to want some of you to share just so we get the most out of it, right? So I should mention now, you're already here, so yeah, we really want you to be actively involved in today's session. And in previous workshops, we offered a prize that was an Amazon gift card, to whichever attendee was the most active. Just
We are
to,
doing that, Nolan.
huh?
We are going to do that. Yes.
Oh, we are going to do that. Okay, well, I was gonna say, I thought we weren't, and instead you were gonna win street cred if you were the most involved. But I guess you win street cred and an Amazon gift card, so that's pretty exciting, isn't it? Yeah, so be active and involved, and we will have a winner for that. Also, in previous sessions, we did an icebreaker where we'd all introduce ourselves to each other, but that's not going to be on the agenda today, I don't think, unless I'm wrong about this too, Maritza.
No, we're just going to go ahead and just drop a hello. If you are here for the first time, just drop a hello in the chat. We're just welcoming you all to the workshop today. Absolutely.
So yeah, feel free to say hi. My name's Nolan, but I've already told you this. I'm a UX UI practitioner, often wearing a few different hats with an emphasis on UX writing. I instruct some of the courses here, the UX UI courses with Workforce Institute, and I've also been helping to create the course content. I also wanted to take the opportunity here to say that lately we've been hard at work implementing sort of an overhauled version of the course, adding in a lot of cool stuff. So we've had the chance to really do a lot that we wanted to with it. So if you're considering the course, just know that we are on our A game. Now, you might know about the specifics of the course already, but I'm just going to mention here that it's 24 weeks. So you've got a weekly session each of those weeks. You've got a pre-week assignment that is due to be submitted before that week's session. So after you say you complete week 2, well, at the end of week 2, we assign you the pre-week assignment for week 3. And then the next week, during week 3, you will bring that assignment to class. Then you'll share it for feedback from other students and from other instructors. Let's see here. Okay. Yes. Hello, everybody. A chatty bunch. Yeah, so in the course, you've got 3 projects. This is basically what your assignments are for, right? You're building a portfolio of UX, UI projects. You're going to be doing 2 original app concepts, as well as 1 website redesign. And you'll have infinite fun while doing it. So with a program like ours, we definitely aim to provide you with some agency, in regards to the work you do throughout the course, just so you can do it on your own time. I know we're busy people, but I do want to mention now, whatever you put into the course is what you get out of it, right? So I think it's kind of a good idea to treat your projects like a job, like you're working in the field. Now, the coordinators will probably go more in depth about the specifics of the course, what the schedule looks like and all. But if you have any questions about this right now, just let me know. You can stop me or send it in the chat. Let's see. All right, well, I guess that means I did good then. Okay. So we're going to take a look at an introduction to user experience for the lecture part of this. This is similar to some of the learning content you'll see in the first lesson or 2 of the actual course. As I've said, if you've already taken some of the course, like Swati, you'll know some of this stuff. So this will just be a review for you. You may have been in a past workshop and you might have seen some of this stuff there as well. If you have any questions about anything during the lecture, just stop me, feel free to, or send it in the chat. I won't answer it. Okay, so let's define user experience. What is it? So that might be the first question on your mind. And in its broadest definition, user experience is the term attributed to the space shared by the user, the product with which they're interacting with, the company that provided it, and most importantly, the interaction itself. Some citations needed. You could learn that in the course though. So Don Norman here, kind of like, who's a good comparison? I guess he's kind of like the Elvis of UX. He sums it up perfectly here with this quote. So that titular experience that a user is having doesn't simply end after putting their phone down or shutting their laptop. These experiences occur in an entire ecosystem established by the company to be shared with the users. Okay. So what is designing user experience? Well, user experience design is the process design teams use to create products that provide meaningful and relevant experiences to users. The process involves the design of the entire product. So that means aspects of branding, design of the actual product itself, usability and functionality. And we do that through getting to know the user, empathizing with them. So we incorporate their point of view. And we use that through the UX process, it's insights to build products that align with the user's needs for their interactions and the company's needs and the business needs. So UX design does cover a bunch of different disciplines. You've got anthropology, psychology, there's some graphic design in there, marketing, of course, I already said branding. So on your way to become a UXer, you'll acquire knowledge in many of these areas, including graphic design, information architecture, as well as interaction design, and a few other things. That sounds jargony now. It's all definitely defined in the course. So ultimately understanding how people behave with technology and addressing their needs, goals, and pain points are really the core values of UX. So let's see. So UX involves a few different processes, and we cover them extensively in this course. Generally, though, they can be depicted in 5 stages. So there's research, design, prototyping, testing, and measurement, pretty much the sequence there. Each of the stages are dedicated to a variety of methods and techniques. So for user research, of course, that's researching users, interviews or surveys, communication and research, sketching for your designs, actually creating digital designs, which is in the design phase, and then usability testing, which is actually testing with the users, one of the most important parts of UX. And we'll take a deep dive into each of those stages and their respective techniques and methodologies in the course. And you'll be doing those with your original app concept. So you'll actually be researching a user base or a group of users. So let's see here. It looks like we got a message. Okay. Doesn't concern me. So if you've ever had an app idea or a cool website idea, you know, you could bring that to life in a way here in the course. So let's see. Now to quote Laura Klein of Users Know, if UX is the experience that a user has whilst interacting with your product, then UX design is by definition the process by which we determine what that's going to be. Okay. So we've got an example of UX here. This is a legendary example, the $300 million button. So fun fact, I'm pretty sure that's almost enough money to house every homeless person in Houston and provide them with healthcare for a long time. Anyway, it was the simplest of forms in this example. 2 fields, 2 buttons, and 1 link. This was during checkout on an e-commerce site. So this form was preventing customers from purchasing products from the e-commerce site. And that was to the tune of an estimated $300 million a year. The designers of the site didn't even know that there was a problem, though. The fields were email address and password. The buttons were login and register. So log in as a customer, create an account, that kind of thing. Then the link was just forgot password. So your standard checkout sign in, right? The team saw the form as enabling repeat customers to purchase faster. First-time purchasers wouldn't mind the extra effort of registering because, after all, they'll come back for more. A designer named Jared Spool and his team did usability testing, and it turned out that people did mind. First-time users were annoyed that they had to register to complete their purchase. They think that this is the only time they're ever going to be purchasing something from this website, right? So they're not there to build a relationship. That could be what they're thinking. They just want to buy something. Something else that could be on their mind. What about all these promotional emails that I already have blowing up my email inbox? And most of the repeat users that actually had login info couldn't remember their login and password. Now they have to click the forgot password link. That could be an extra 45 seconds of, clicking the link, putting in their email to have the reset link sent to their email address, and then going to open that. And that just feels like a lot, whether the user is conscious of that feeling or not. They feel that way. I think we can all relate to that. So the designers changed the register button to continue. Then that kind of changes the whole thing, just the simple terminology. The number of customers checking out shot up by 45%, and that's the $300 million button for you. Just some simple wording. Never underestimate the power of words in UX. Extra clicks, more forms, anything that gives the user a misconception or just makes them think that something is one way when you could definitely present it to them in another way that might change their mind about it. You can definitely take advantage of that. Got a little aimless there. My notes were a little messed up at that part, but let's just continue to UI design. So UX, UI, UX. I'm not really sure which acronym is supposed to come first. Anyway, we always see them side by side, right? UI design. User interface is the place that an experience occurs, a user experience. But UI design means focusing on all things regarding visuals, like graphics, colors, icons, buttons, and the overall style of the product. So what the actual interface looks like. Let's see, it looks like somebody's mic is on. Could I ask you guys to mute? Would that be good? Thank you. Anyway, this also means a UI design team could put a lot of work into deciding how to effectively integrate branding into the visuals of the interface. Now, UI designers don't just make a nice coat of paint for an app or website. You'll also find them taking responsibilities for the structure and the layout of the interface, sort of fine-tuning the what goes where and why it will support a better interaction for the end user. UI designers will ensure a product meets current standards like iOS and Android design guidelines, and might even help in development by applying appropriate coding techniques in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, so on and so forth. So to put it into simpler terms, I like to say that UX is kind of greater in scope. It's about the entire experience a user has with the product, an app or website, within and without, while UI is the space where that interaction with the product occurs. So it's the part of the user experience that the user actually sees. I guess my image on this slide disappeared. That's no good. All right. When you hear the word user interface, I'm sure a lot of interfaces come to mind because you used one to get into this Zoom meeting. You probably use one multiple times an hour. So when you use an app on your phone to listen to music, you are, of course, interacting with a UI. Another example could be video games, the window in which you're watching the video right now, or sorry, not the video, the meeting. So visual interfaces are usually the first thing, right? But there are more types of user interfaces than just visual interfaces. Some others that may not have come to mind right away could include voice-controlled interfaces like Alexa or Siri. I mean, these need organizing too, right? They need thought. They need to find a way how to structure this that's the most, makes the most sense for the people using it. Imagine how much voice-controlled technology has improved interactions for the visually impaired, or even for you as you're just driving in your car and need directions to where you're going. So with Siri, you'd be able to get the directions you need without taking your eyes off of the road. Now, maybe you had breakfast or lunch today, just like Richard. That's okay. Maybe it was brunch. If you heated your meal in the microwave, you, in a way, interfaced with its interface on it, the control panel. And that food could very well have been harvested by a farmer interacting with the controls of a combine harvester. So yeah, we use them all the time, everywhere, like ATMs, the radio in your car. Yeah, so this means we're all users, and there are two things that make us all unique and similar as users. So the goals we seek to accomplish every time we are using an interface, and the frustrations we experience whilst working to achieve these goals. So the two go hand in hand. UX encompasses UI, but UI design isn't strictly UX design. UX design lays the groundwork for the process by understanding the user, whereas UI design utilizes this foundation of user understanding to craft the interface in the later stages of the design process. If you read into this topic more for yourself, you'll undoubtedly come across a left brain, right brain comparison to represent UX and UI, respectively. UX being left brain, it's shown to be more studious, logistical, and scientific, whereas UI, the right brain, gets characterized as artistic, creatively oriented, and even visually expressive. That's a little absolute, in my opinion, especially by today's standards, but it gets the point across, I think. So yeah, that's it for that bit on UI design. So let's go over the process. As I said, the process can look a few different ways. It's framed in a couple different ways. There's a model that uses convergent and divergent thinking to frame the UX process. There's a couple different processes like user-centered design, design thinking, which is sort of for like fast projects. I guess, I don't know, I don't think I need to get too much into defining that right now. All this to say, this is just one way to frame it. And honestly, this isn't my favorite way right here. But I think it works pretty well. So let's see here. So you'll utilize this process as you do all 3 projects in this course. So you could say you'd get to know it well. First, you learn about the user, then draft design solutions based on research insights. Next is when we turn the designs into interactive working prototypes. Then we move on to testing the prototypes with real users to gather data in the form of testing results. So that's more insights. And then we analyze those or measure them in the last phase to see if our design solutions have addressed the user problems. Then from there, we know that maybe we need to go back to the design stage and update it. Maybe we know that, hey, none of this is good enough. We need to go back to research. Or maybe it's unclear. Maybe we should just do some more testing. So keep in mind that it's not just bam, 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 linear every time. Okay, while we work through this process a bit, I'm going to be sharing a student's project to help contextualize each stage of the process, help give you an idea of what your projects will look like when you take this course. So this app is called BizWiz, as opposed to Cheese Whiz. A student named Alan noticed that a lot of small business owners he knew had issues with handling the taxes aspect of their enterprise. Setting up the right tax structure for a business sounds like it can be a deliberately overly complex nightmare. So I think that his app was a great idea. So the problem he set out to solve was to give business owners what they needed to take care of their setting up their tax structure, right? So phase 1 research generally starts with identifying your users and in the real world, the real context of a UX project. A company might already know who they are, but in your projects, you're going to want to identify them. Then you come up with a larger question to answer with your research or a goal to set. You come up with a hypothesis and and you identify the problem you're trying to solve. So common research methods include interviews, surveys given to users, then creating a hypothetical user from this info to really empathize with the user's thoughts during their experience. So that hypothetical user is called a persona. And I think we have Alan's here in a couple of slides. Cool. Yeah. So with a persona, I like to think of them as sort of the character in the story you're telling with your project. So let's see, back to BizWiz. This is Alan's research report in his case study for BizWiz. He's got an overview of the interviews he conducted and how he did it. So he did these over Zoom. He said he identified participants based on screener survey responses. So here he's reporting on who the participants he's going to be interviewing are, and by extension, he's described the target users, basically saying that he's designing an app for that specific type of user. So people in the state of Oregon looking to start their own businesses, or those who are experienced business owners. So here are some of the questions he asked in the interviews he conducted with them. He asked if they've set up a business in the past, if they have any experience doing that. What friction points or sticking points did they encounter? Did they find any helpful resources? Did they have help setting up their business? And then what would they have done differently? So knowing all this before creating a design for them, before creating something that's supposed to inform them or people like them about tax structures is, pretty essential. had he just tried to create the design without getting answers to these things straight from the horse's mouth, he, probably wouldn't have been able to accomplish the purpose of the app, right? He probably wouldn't successfully address the user's problem. Okay, so then he summarizes the data and insights he gathered from those questions. So he said there's a lack of resource with centralized info and guidance to help potential and existing small business owners to get the right tax structure. So a tool like BizWiz could empower people to be able to make informed decisions that will directly impact their lives. The participant responses regarding a fundamental lack of research done show that the tool should be simple or streamlined to convey information in plain, accessible language. Then he continues on saying the tool should include foundational knowledge for different tax structure types. Now let's see. He finishes off by mentioning additional resources. So then he's learned about the users, what they're like. And so he moves on to create his user persona. He's got Zoe Smith here. Zoe is not a real person. She is a hypothetical user that represents the average person using BizWiz. But all of this information about her has been substantiated by his research. So he could be confident in knowing that this is the kind of user he needs to tailor his design for. You will create user personas in this course. So if you think of a design as a story, screen to screen, the user persona is the character whom we follow throughout this story. Whether your app is for ordering a pizza or for what's another good one? Trying to think of something a bit more fun than business tax structures right now. Ordering a pizza or finding a recipe with dietary restrictions or something like that. You will create a user persona to do that. Okay, so now that we've gained some clarity on the UX problems, it's time to create our solutions. We start with ideation, looking at our research insights, our persona, and coming up with design concepts based on these insights. Generally, our first design iteration is known as low fidelity or lo-fi. This is typically a sketch of the design that serves the sole purpose of getting the concept across, right? So getting it down on paper. And you might get multiple different concepts down. So it's definitely not set in stone at this point. We can move on to the next phases with a lo-fi iteration to see how it functions in testing and measure those results. And then we can come back to the design phase to reiterate upon it, creating a mid-fi or hi-fi one. So there's a scale of fidelity. And between iterations, you want to be informed about how users respond to it and make sure it's working. So let's see. So this is a very abridged rundown of Alan's design development, but let's get into it. So here he started his design ideation with some rough sketches of what the app could look like. There are various techniques and processes for which we will cover in the course, but this is from the 4-step sketch method created by Jake Knapp at Google Ventures. And yeah, this is just a really cool design exercise you get to do. So what you do, I guess I could explain it real quick. You fold a piece of paper 3 times, however many times it takes to get 8 different rectangles. And then you start a stopwatch and go and spend 1 minute in each one drawing a design iteration of the same screen. And here, I believe this is his screen for the different tax structures that explains them. He's expanded upon those ideas here with his solution sketch with some notes. Kind of annotated it, this kind of thing. So he's built upon the concept. Then he takes that to his wire flow. We see he's gone with one of the ideas he had. He's got these drop downs for each tax structure, sole proprietorship, S corp, single member, and in the drop downs, it's got a well-written bit about what qualifies for that tax structure. And then he progressed to this with his mid-fidelity frames. Did a cool logo. Good on him for that. Of course, there are steps between the process here. He actually conducted the next 3 phases of the process. So prototyping, testing, and measurement until he went back to the design phase to make his high fidelity prototype, which he ends up with this here. This is a screenshot of all the screens in his hi-fi prototype. He's got it fully fleshed out. He used Figma for this. So in the prototyping phase, you make your design come to life in an interactive, clickable form. Prototypes can be made with something as low fidelity as sketches or something high fidelity, like what we just saw. So let's see here. So to create designs and prototypes, we use design tools. In this bootcamp, you will learn how to use Figma. There are a few other ones, of course, like Adobe XD and Envision. Nobody would stop you from using those, especially if you're a fan of Adobe's softwares. But just know that we wouldn't be covering that. Okay, so Alan used his prototype to run some testing to gather data on how well the design functioned. In regards to the design itself, user testing is critical to the concept of UX. Without testing your designs, you're really not designing UX, right? Think of the testing phase as a proof or filter with which we'll test and evaluate your design solution to the user problem. It's where you answer the question of whether it solves the problem. And then we get critical feedback on the work we've done. There are different types of tests that one can conduct at different points in a design's lifetime to get the appropriate feedback. There's testing for quantitative feedback to learn about the bigger picture of users' behavior, maybe a simple layout change or something. And there's also more in-depth testing to gather qualitative data on the nuances and details of how a user interacts with the design, sort of a behavioral study. So testing is taken very seriously in UX and is in this course. So you'll get to conduct a few different tests. In the final phase here, measurement, you take a deep dive into everything we observed in testing, using this information to see what we can do to support a better UX in future design iterations. After analyzing your design measurements, you might repeat the stages as needed of the process. So that goes for your your projects in this course, right? We recommend you continue to work on them after the course, right? It's said that no design is ever like truly finished in UX. Maybe some people would disagree with me, but I think that gets the point across, right? No user experience is perfect. Okay, so looks like we are on 40. You know what? Let me go ahead and just open this up so we can look at Alan's prototype. Yeah. It's a little odd. Okay. What size frame is he working with here? I guess I can't change it. So this will be fine. Come on. Can I zoom out? Okay, there we go. That's a bit better. Apologize for this. Okay, so here's his high fidelity prototype, right? This is what he submitted at the end. He's got his user, Zoe, is here to learn about which tax structure she wants to use or should use. And then business structures 101. It's got a clear thing saying there are 4 common business structures most people choose. Well, okay, Zoe's probably already feeling pretty relieved that there's only 4 of these things to go through, right? Choosing a tax structure is probably, pretty daunting. At least it would be for me. So then sole proprietorship, she learns about that. If you were self-employed, just well-written stuff explaining them, right? It's not a bunch of it's not a list of like things like you aren't sure whether you qualify for them or whatever. Yeah, so it's got that. And then after that overview, she's like, well, maybe I'm not too sure yet. I'll go and take the quiz. And then he put these questions here. How long have you been in the business? Starting out. Yeah, I am the sole owner of the business. Do you want to work under your legal name? Yeah. Do you own your home? No. Is your business in the medical field? Weird. Okay. So I had to answer no. Okay. And there you go. Easy quiz, right? There wasn't a bunch of, 1099 W4 IRS, such and such stuff there, right? So she knows what she needs to do now. And as I said, that's maybe not the most interesting topic for a project or the most engaging one for a presentation, but he did a great job at identifying his users, defining their problem, and addressing it through design. Okay, so looks like we are already at 45. UX careers. Cool. We'll finish up the lecture with this. And what this program will prepare you with. So surely you've already heard about the growth UX UI careers have been undergoing and continue to. So here are some recent statistics that LinkedIn shared with us in the 2019 Most Promising Jobs of the Year list. Since UX UI is a rapidly expanding field, there are a lot of new designers looking to begin a career. As such, the job market for UX can be rather competitive. New designers on the job search will want to build a solid portfolio to show off their UX skills to prospective employers. That includes everything in your projects, presented in case study format, design iterations, research, testing insights, sort of tell a story with it. So that's, to create sort of a portfolio that's a monument to your dedication to UX or whatever. Your portfolio is your key to a career in UX. That's why the projects are such a big part of this course. But a portfolio is not the only thing that you will need to get there. There's the other matters of making a proper UX resume, learning how to market yourself, and networking to make connections and learn where to look for a job, specifically what you want, that kind of thing. With all this in mind, you're provided with an entire year of career coaching following graduation from the course. The guidance you get from your career coach is truly invaluable. I know Maritza is very dedicated to this. In regards to tuition, the value for the 6-month course and 1 year of career coaching is pretty exceptional. I'm not just saying that because they're paying me to be here. Yeah, so let's see here. So yeah, if you've taken the initiative to be here today, I'm glad you did. I believe you certainly got the potential to excel in UX, and I hope you're on board for the course because we'd love to have you. All right, so we can finally do the activity with 10 seconds left on the clock. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open a file in Figma. I'm going to send y'all a link to it. If this wants to work. Okay, so if you're ready, go ahead and open this. You'll probably need to make an account in Figma, but you can sign up with Google, so it's easy stuff. All right. Just sent that in the Zoom chat. Let me hear from a few of you once you've opened it, so I know to proceed. So this is what we've got here. Opened it. Thank you, Swati. Okay. So I want you to duplicate this file before you edit it. If you're looking at my screen share, you'll just go up here, click down, and then go to duplicate. Then you'll have your own version of the file. Just got to save this for myself. Okay, it won't let you see the site. That's fine. You can just watch the screen share.
Nolan, can you just tell me how do I duplicate it again?
Oh, yeah. So up here where the file's title is,
Okay.
hit the down arrow, you get some file options, and then you just click duplicate. You see it?
Save a local copy? Is that?
Do you see it on my screen share?
I do not. Hold on. That's okay. I can just watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, you know what? I think I see it. I saw it.
Cool.
Got it.
All right. So what we're doing here in this activity, once you've got your own copy of the file, because you're not going to be able to, change anything about this, you are going to be arranging these components on the home screen of a nonprofit website. So this was from an older nonprofit website redesign project. So about the foundation and their website, they're an Austin-based nonprofit organization with the mission statement reading that they want to intentionally provide hands-on service through school and community-based programs to enhance the quality of life for African American and low-income youth and families. So we've done our research at this stage and we've created a user persona. And now we can start thinking about the layout of the website. Here's our user persona. Oh, wait, yeah. Well, first, let me tell you the reasons why our user persona and other users like her come to the website. So they come as parents and potential supporters to learn about the organization and their mission. They come seeking to learn about the youth education programs and enroll their kids, and also to read about the foundation's latest news and upcoming events. However, we know that the foundation prefers to use their social media pages to update and communicate with their network of supporters. So that's something we learned from the client, right? So when you are arranging the components on this screen, you'll want to make sure that it is evident that they can get to the Facebook page for the news, right? Or at least it's readily accessible to the users. Yeah, and to contact them and volunteer, that kind of thing. But you are only arranging a home page. Now, we also learned in research that they aren't getting a lot of donations on their website. So when you're arranging it, we also need to make sure that the users can donate, and they'll be able to find where to do so. All right, now I can introduce the persona representing the average user of that website, of that page. We've got Tasha here and her daughter, just a busy mom in Austin, in a lower income area. She's got a daughter who likes Minecraft and computer and such, and she wants to get her involved in a STEM education program to nurture her passion for things as such. But she is certain if she can afford, or she's not certain if she can afford tuition for such a thing. So she's coming to this website to learn about this foundation that might be able to help her with that. And then I've listed some problems that exist on the current version of the homepage, which I don't have a picture of here actually. And then we've got some goals for the redesigned homepage. So you want your design, however you're laying this out, you want it to aim to accomplish these 4 things. Think about this from our user's perspective. If you're having any trouble getting the file duplicated, or you're not too sure, just let me know. There's no right or wrong way to do this exercise. It's however you think it'll work best, right? In this components area over here, if you're not sure what all this is, these are just different elements that would be on the page. So these are what you're actually going to go and arrange. We've got a news section with different flyers. We've got a little thing explaining what kind of programs they offer. Let's see here. Can't duplicate from your phone. That's okay. That's okay. Just as long as you watch. We've got some body text here. We've got a mission statement, a header for a support our cause section, contact, put the site footer at the bottom, obviously. And then you've got different images that you could just intersperse throughout. These are buttons that would link to other pages, hypothetically, right? So you've got the donate buttons, which obviously allows the user to make a donation to the foundation. Then you've got the links to their social media. Remember how I mentioned the importance of these to the client. And then some buttons that would allow you to learn more about something. So you could connect to learn more to maybe their mission, and that could take you to an about page, their programs, maybe for volunteering this thing, take them to the volunteering page, and you could, put that in the support our cause section. It's up to you. Whatever you think needs to come first, it's your world. Grab a sip of water real quick. All right. Well, whenever somebody's partially done, you don't have to be completely finished. I'd love for you to share your screen and show me what you got. Tell me why you decided to organize or arrange the elements as you did.
Can I share my screen?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I knew I could count on you, Swati.
Oh. Okay. Hopefully I'm sharing the correct screen. Okay, do you see it?
I sure do.
Okay. Okay, so I arranged. Now, the only thing I wasn't sure is there's still like all this blank, space under, under. So I wasn't sure if we're still placing stuff there or, that's obviously something that you scroll, vertical scroll, and then you'll be able to see it, correct?
Yeah, that's a vertical scroll.
Okay, so I placed the social media stuff right on top. I actually thought of placing it at the bottom because that's where your thumb reaches out most. But then the learn more and donate were close to, your clickable area. And then I didn't change the sizes of any of these that I just, I just added them in without changing any sizes. And that is why they're like not very properly placed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if, I should do that or not. So that's why they're just in those positions for now.
So
Yeah.
whenever I click on the learn more button, where does that take me?
I am not sure at this point what their next page would be, but that should take you to more information about what their mission is, I'm guessing.
Okay. And then are you kind of thinking that the news is going to contextualize their mission more?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, the learn more, volunteer, and donate buttons at the bottom because you'd want the user to click those a little more, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
And that's easily reachable, especially people using like single hand on their phones and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Is there any reason you omitted the other elements?
No, I just didn't get to it and I was still
Okay.
figuring out where to place them. Because like I said, I wasn't sure what this whole part is. Should we just fill it up with their, more images as people scroll up? But then there should be some space for something like our programs because you would want the user to know what their programs are.
Mm-hmm. So the persona is coming here to learn about the programs that she might be able to enroll her kid in. So where do you think that should be on the homepage for that? Because that seems like a pretty important thing to her.
Then I would replace this and add that.
You would add
in
that there?
case. Yeah.
Cool.
Because I mean, something that says our mission should be right at the top. So once if you're on their homepage or onboarding page, you should be able to read what their mission is at first.
Absolutely. Yeah. And on the list of goals for the redesigned homepage, the first one, high priority, is to better inform first-time users about the foundation's mission. Because I don't think they have a lot of retention of users, right? It's just kind of the nature of their website. So I think that was a pretty good move. Cool.
Yep. That's all I got in the past 30 seconds that I did.
Good stuff.
See, I know how to click and drag stuff and put it in place. There's progress, Nolan, there's progress.
Cool. Your prototype, right, from a previous project.
Uh-huh.
What was that one?
It was the Napa.
Napa,
Yeah.
right?
Napa
So
was-
how is it going there? How are you liking that?
I did like it. I did realize that I think I need to make a lot more components than I did
Mm-hmm.
because of not having as many components and using them. I have to go screen to screen and change things. So I realized that I need to do stuff outside the frame that I have and then start putting them in. So hopefully for the next project, I will do that and, maybe revisit Napa project after the course and redo certain things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that project Swati's talking about, everybody, is the second project in the course in which you'll redesign a website. Currently, I believe the standard one we're doing is Napa Auto Parts. The Napa know-how. I think that's their marketing jingle. I don't know.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's just a kind of a common UX thing is redesigning a website. So do you want to show what you have, Swati? If well, I guess, is anybody else ready to share their activity, their rearranged screen? Seems like Swati's definitely going for the gold with the Amazon gift card. Good stuff. Maybe I took us a bit over time with the lecture part of this. So make sure to come to a future workshop.
So Nolan, I'm just going to quickly interrupt you as we're closing out the workshop. Everybody that has hopped on today, I did drop a link in the chat. If you would just take a few minutes to fill it out, we do send you a certificate and a recording from this workshop. So please just fill that out so I can get those certificates over to you. And then if you are interested in speaking with an advisor after this call, we'll be able to do that. But right now we're going to go ahead and leave it open for Nolan to answer any questions that you might have about the UI UX field. So the floor is yours.
Thank you.
I think
All right.
Julia has a question, Nolan. Do you see that?
Yes, I see that. So you have a question about the field in general. Do you mean like a soccer field or
So I have a graphic design background. I was a web designer a long time ago, from like 2006 to 2014. So of course, the online world has changed so much since then. I haven't really been in the field since then, but am obviously looking to get into UI UX. So, I'm an artist, I'm a designer, I'm curious, like, how many jobs is it like a good portion you're doing like the design, the actual graphic design, like the actual high fidelity wireframes or mockups or whatever you want to call them? Because like I'm signed up for like LinkedIn notifications of jobs for UI and UX, and I see like 30 plus a day for UX and like 3 a day for UI. I mean, but you also said that UX is a very all-encompassing term. So like, what percentage of jobs out there do you think is more of like my style, more of like the visual design?
I hear you. Well, it's awesome to hear about your background I think this course would be just right for you. Now, in terms of like actual percentages, I'm, not
Ballpark.
I'm not really the expert, to say like it's like 20%, but you must know that like companies do these things differently than others, right? So a product designer at one company could be doing a whole lot of, kind of what you're talking about, working with, color palettes, making like engaging layouts and stuff, doing the visual design stuff. Now, visual designer roles, of course, that is going to be predominantly what they're doing. Graphic design principles are very important there. Now, you seem to already know user interface designers. Of course, they, are commonly working on the visual design aspects of the interface. So I guess ultimately, like I'd say the job you're looking for, it's definitely out there. Like certainly is. There are a lot of them, and keep your eye out for product designer roles.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even some just UX designer roles might have you working in that stage of the process, but I think it can be expected that you will be handling, a lot of the UX side of things as well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously from the name. Does that answer your question?
I think so. Yeah. I guess I just don't want to like invest in a program and then like only, I'm only actually finding like 5% of the UX jobs are actually jobs I want to do.
So we equip you with everything you need to kind of jump into the networking side of things toward the end of the course. And with your current experience, right, everything you've done up until this point, I think you would find a job that's the right fit for you in no time, whether it's on a job board or you speak directly with the recruiter or the hiring manager. Your perfect fit job is definitely out there. And it helps a lot that you know what you want to do already.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can sort of market yourself lent towards that kind of position.
Mm-hmm.
Where have you been looking for jobs?
Primarily LinkedIn and Flex Jobs. I mean, currently I'm looking for, something that matches my skill set a little bit more, like more of a graphic design job or, something that doesn't require that I have experience with user experience. I mean, certainly if somebody wanted to hire me now, that would be great, but I don't know if I'm going to qualify. It seems like there's a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Nolan, do you want me to like chime in?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Julia, I work in the career services department, so I can just kind of share what I'm seeing currently.
Sure.
So the students that take the UI UX design program, once they graduate, as long as they complete that portfolio, which is so important throughout the duration of the program, and they do utilize career services, I see that it takes about a month after graduation to start to land interviews, and then roughly a total of 3 months post-graduation to see them actually working in the field. Because what I see is once the student lands interviews, it's getting them to be comfortable to talk about UI, UX design and product design or whatever field it is. I notice that's the roadblock. So what we do in addition is we do pair our students up with an additional mentor session with a different instructor. We bring on specialized people for the interview prep, and then we make sure that resume, cover letter, LinkedIn all aligns with what's very high demand right now in UI UX design.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that answers your question. And in addition, we have specialized people that their sole job is to find recruiters near our university partners looking to hire graduates. So I will say, as far as like compensation, right now, no experience, no exposure, UI, UX design, I see it landing around that 50 to 60,000 a year.
Mhm.
That's like an average. It's those that are getting into those higher salary brackets usually have a bachelor's degree of some sort in like graphic design to back up the newer UI, UX experience.
Mhm.
So hopefully that answers your question.
I think so, yeah. I mean, what's your take on the original question I asked about kind of like, I know it's a complex, like Nolan said, like every company is different, every UX role is a little bit different. Like, what are you seeing as far as like jobs that are more like graphic/visual leaning versus more of research or writing or testing?
It really depends on where you live.
Well,
Because
I'm going all remote. I live in a small town in
remote.
Colorado. There aren't local jobs here.
Okay, so when I do the job search, obviously the basic UI UX design is there. User research, I see a lot of success if the student has prior experience in the psychology field.
I have experience with coaching.
Okay, so then research would be a really great field to break into, because they want to see like the people interaction, what your background is. That field has a lot of internship opportunity. And then as far as, I think Nolan kind of touched on this, what's really successful in the UI UX field is getting plugged into groups and participating in as many of the meetups as you can, because it's about that networking. You never know who you're going to meet in these meetups or in these groups on LinkedIn. And then for the job searching, you want to be putting your application out on Indeed, on the actual websites, company pages, and not just only limit yourself to 2 or 3 platforms. But as far as remote, we have more opportunity if that's what you're going for.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Any more questions from anybody before we wrap it up and close out the workshop?
I couldn't agree more.
Sorry, Nolan, were you gonna say something?
Oh, no, I was just making a dumb joke. I was like, I couldn't agree more.
I do want to say, so Swati is actually a current student. She's taken advantage of the career services. So I don't know if Swati, you have anything to add before I wrap up the workshop.
All I have to add is Maritza is really awesome. No,
Thank you.
truly, not just because, I came from a very non-techie background. I'm a preschool teacher. Give me a class of 24-year-olds, I can manage it. But give me a screen in Figma, it took me time. So that's where I come from. But Maritza has been a great coach. I've taken help from Nolan, learning things in Figma, which was very helpful. So I'm, working towards it. The course is, initially, it is pretty slow, one step at a time, which is very helpful for a person like me, because it helped me take things in slowly and understand each step. And then as you go on to project 2 and project 3, you are obviously required to do more per week rather than just one step.
Great. All right,
So
so I
yeah,
think we're good.
hopefully I will also land up in a job soon.
You've
Thank you
got
so
it, Swati.
Okay, so Nolan, if you want to go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah, that's a wrap on it. Go ahead and maybe mess around with the activity a bit more. Come to future workshops if you want. I am fine-tuning that activity a bit. Maybe I'll have a case study example of something other than tax structures next time, but Yeah, we hope you're excited about the course. And thank you for coming.
Thank you, Nolan.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
Maritza.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.